quantitative data block that crunches New York City's open data portal, which contains the data released by the city itself. The blog's called iQuant New York, a play on I Love New York, and it just did some crunching, which shows that last year was a rough one for the NYPD, because it just crunched the numbers from the comptroller's ClaimStat figures and found that the NYPD was sued an average of 10 times a day last year. 10 a day! The largest number came out of the Bronx, the hectic borough north of Manhattan. The data crunching showed that Bronx residents filed more than twice as much as those in hipster Brooklyn, and more than 6 times than those in Staten Island. The borough with the fewest lawsuits filed was, you guessed it, the rich borough of Manhattan. The Bronx neighborhood of Longwood had the highest rate of suing the 5-0, with 2.79 lawsuits being filed for every 1,000 residents. It's worth taking a look at Staten Island more specifically, too, since that was the site of Eric Garner's tragic death. And guess what? The vast majority of lawsuits against the NYPD on Staten Island were filed right around where he died. And according to iQuant New York, there are more crimes reported in the neighborhoods with all the lawsuits, meaning there are more police interactions in those neighborhoods, which inevitably means more lawsuits. And according to data from New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer's office, all of those lawsuits didn't come cheap. One of their reports revealed that all those complaints against the NYPD last year cost the city a whopping $137 million. The report also shows that complaints against the NYPD have risen 71% over the past decade. Most of the claims are for police misconduct, civil rights violations, and injury and damage from accidents involving police vehicles. The report says that the comptroller's 2015 budget has set aside $674 million to pay out settlements and judgments from lawsuits against the city, which comes to about $80 per New York City resident. And they project that to rise to $782 million by 2018, which is more than the budget for a whole bunch of other city departments combined. And that's all set aside to go to settle lawsuits that largely happen in New York City's outer boroughs where the poor people live. So I have an idea. Why doesn't the city just fork over the cash to its poor neighborhoods now and save everyone the time and trouble? And hey, it might just save a few lives, too. Tonight, let's talk about that.